Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher. Welcome to Sweetwater's Guitars and Gear. This time out, an ultra-versatile, ultra-flexible amplifier from Hughes Kettner. Let's get started. Today we're checking out the Black Spirit 200, a new amplifier from Hughes Kettner that comes in an extremely lightweight, yet provides a ton of capability and plenty of power for any application. The Black Spirit 200 features a brand new technology from Hughes Kettner. They call it their Spirit Tone Generator. You can see it here right inside this little window on the front. There are no tubes in this amplifier, yet because of the controls and the way they've set things up, this all-analog amplifier feels and sounds very tube-like. The Black Spirit 200 is loaded with features. We have 200 watts of power, and you can switch that down to 20 watts or even down to 2 watts, or in fact, you can use this amp silently either by headphones or using the built-in Redbox speaker emulator on the back panel. We have 4 channels. We have effects built in, reverb, delay, and 4 different types of modulation effects, as well as a programmable noise gate. As far as speaker emulation goes, we have 8 different cabinet types, and a really cool feature in this amp is something they call sagging. It's available on this control here in the front panel. We're going to talk a lot more about that, but it emulates the effects of cranking up a tube amplifier and what happens in the power amp and the power supply section of a tube amplifier when you crank it up. The back panel has an effects loop that we can switch in and out, and all of the settings can be saved into a preset. Now you can recall those presets via MIDI or using the Bluetooth app that runs on iPad. Those presets store everything on the front panel except for the master volume control, so you can instantly jump from setting to setting, completely reconfiguring the amplifier. This makes it very versatile for use on stage. It also has a Midi Outputs, so you can easily chain this to your other MIDI devices in your rig. The Black Spirit 200 has 4 channels, and each of those channels has been individually voiced to optimize it for performance. We have a clean channel that can range anywhere from a sparkling clean to a pretty heavy breakup. The crunch channel gives us that classic rock and roll breakup, great for rhythm tones, also great for lead sounds. The lead channel ups the gain, makes things nice and tight, lots of sustain. And when you go to ultra, you've got way over the top gain. Now we can enhance each of those with a boost switch, and the boost has been individually tailored for each of the channels. So for example, on the ultra channel, it tightens up the bottom end and allows you to front end that gain stack. This gives you a nice tight sound, and it's been similarly voiced to enhance each of the other individual channels as well. We'll begin with the clean channel. I'll start off by demonstrating these sounds with my customized Telecaster. This has a Seymour Duncan Saturday Night Special pickup in the bridge. This is a humbucker that has a little bit thicker, a little bit more output than a standard PAF. In the neck, I've got a little 59, which gives us a PAF-style humbucker tone in the neck position. Later, we'll listen to this amplifier with some other guitars as well, so you can hear a variety of different tones with it. We'll begin with the gain all the way up on the clean channel, and this will show you how much this channel will actually break up when you push it hard. You can hear that we can actually push this channel into pretty heavy distortion. It makes a great rhythm tone. When we back the gain off, this channel provides a nice sparkling clean. That's a nice American-style clean tone, great for clean tones like this, for funk rhythms, or for clean lead parts. On the crunch channel, the gain ranges from a light breakup to a medium gain that's great for lead tones, especially for classic rock type applications. When we switch to the lead channel, of course the gain goes way up. We've got plenty of gain on tap for solos. It also tightens up the bottom end and gives us a nice full mid-range. Ultra channel gives us over-the-top gain range, which is great for more aggressive styles of music or when you want a really liquid feel to your solos. Now when we add the boost, we can take things way over the top with the Ultra channel, but the cool thing is that it also tightens up the bottom end. So let's back the gain off just a little bit and engage that boost circuit. This type of a setting is going to be great if you're playing a 7-string guitar or if you're down-tuned. It's really going to tighten up that bottom end and punch up the mids a bit more. Let's go back to the clean channel, and I want to show you another control that's very useful as far as tone shaping on this amplifier. That's the sagging control. So we'll go back to our clean channel. The sagging control is over here after the tone stack. We have bass, mid, treble, and our noise gate control, and then the sagging control. The sagging control emulates what happens in a tube amplifier when you crank it up. So you're pushing the power tubes hard, you're pushing the power supply hard to keep up with transients, for example. This gives you a little spongier feel. It also adds some harmonic content. It makes the sound creamier. So let's turn that control down, and then we'll bring it back up. You'll easily hear the difference. We'll begin with the sagging control turned all the way down, and then I'll show you what it sounds like with it turned all the way up. As a player, I can really feel that sponginess. It really feels great under your fingers, like a cranked up amplifier. And you can also hear that it sounds like it's adding more gain, but what it's actually doing is enhancing the harmonic content because, again, you're simulating the effect of really pushing those power tubes hard. The combination of the sagging control along with the gain control and the switchable boost on each channel gives you a ton of tone shaping power. You can do a lot just with those 3 controls. Then in addition to that, of course, we have our tone stack. It's a passive tone stack. So we have bass, mid, and treble, and those do interact. So if you crank the mids up, it's going to affect how the bass responds and so on. The other 2 tone shaping possibilities here are resonance and presence. Now in a tube amplifier, those would take place in the power amp side of the equation. Presence affects the upper harmonic content that's being generated. So it sort of sounds like a brightness control, but it's doing a bit more than that. In a tube amplifier, it's controlling negative feedback. Here it's simulating that process. The resonance control simulates what happens when a tube amplifier interacts with a speaker. You can change the resonant frequency, the impedances, what's going on back and forth there, the damping control over the speaker that the amplifier had. This control simulates all of those effects. Each channel also has a volume control. This volume control isn't really for setting the volume. What it's for is for balancing the level of different presets. So if you have a high gain preset, you can balance that against a crystal clean preset. The overall volume level is actually controlled by the master volume control, which is over here on my far right. Many of the controls on the Black Spirit 200 actually have dual functions. For example, when we press Effects Access, the LED flashes, and that tells us that this upper row of labels is what we're now accessing with the controls. So for example, we have our 4 modulation effects here on the right-hand side of the amp. And those range from chorus to flange, phaser, and tremolo. You disengage the effect by turning it all the way down. We can also access 3 controls for delay here: delay level, feedback amount, and delay time. So if we bring the delay up, set our time here, bring up the feedback, if you're using the FSM 432 Mark III foot pedal to control your Hughes Kettner amplifier, you have a tap tempo switch right here on the front panel of the foot switch, so we can tap in the delay time. You can also tap in the tempo from the iPad app. We'll take a deeper dive into the iPad app a little bit later in this video. In addition to modulation effects and delay, we also have built-in reverb. So we'll bring the delay level down, make sure our modulation effects are down, and we'll bring the reverb up. The final effect that's built in is the noise gate, and you probably heard that when we were looking at the Ultra channel. Now, the nice thing about the Black Spirit 200 is that it's the first Hughes Kettner amplifier where you can program that noise gate per channel. And not only can you program whether the noise gate is on or off, but you can also set the amount of noise gating that's happening. You can set that from a very light noise gating to really clamping down and shutting off any noise in the background. This helps to keep the amplifier very quiet regardless of how much gain you're using. Now, all these settings can be stored into a preset. And you can have 128 presets at a time in the Black Spirit 200. You can access those presets over MIDI using the FSM 432 Mark III foot pedal or any other MIDI foot pedal, or you can access them using the iPad app. You may have noticed there are a couple other labels here on the front panel, and one of those is cab type. And that's a new feature that's found in the Redbox AE on the back panel of the Black Spirit 200. This is a great feature because it allows you to run direct out of the amplifier into your PA mixer, into an audio interface in your DAW, or if you're in a house of worship for running a silent stage, it's an ideal option. The big difference here is that we have 8 different cabinet types. There are 2 1x12s, 1 2x12, 1 4x10, and 4 different types of 4x12s. Ton of sound shaping option there, and they sound very authentic. Finally, we also have a switch for the effects loop on and off. The effects loop is on the back panel. It's a serial effects loop, works with pedals or rack gear, and you can program that per patch using the effects loop switch here on the front panel. When you have your preset the way that you want it, just store it using the store switch. We've mentioned the back panel several times. Let's take a really quick tour of what's available to you on the back panel. There are a ton of features here as well. Beginning on my far right, we have an aux in. Now this will accept a stereo output from an MP3 player, your phone, your iPad, whatever you might be using to play back music. You can also stream audio actually into the Black Spirit 200 using Bluetooth. And again, we'll look at that a little bit later. We have the effects loop send and return next. Below that are our Midi connections. And the Midi connection is a 7-pin connection, which means it provides phantom power if you're using a Hughes Kettner FSM 432 Mark III pedal. The Redbox DI gives us some nice options. Again, a new feature is that we have 8 different cab types. We can also choose whether we're operating at mic or line level, and we can turn the Redbox simulation on or off if you want to use an external cabinet simulator with the amplifier. Speaker output is fairly self-explanatory. Connect your speaker there. It'll accept either 8-ohm or 16-ohm speaker cabinets. But one of the interesting things about that output is you can actually configure it to either run into a guitar cabinet, as I am here. I'm using a Hughes Kettner TM212 cabinet. Or you can set it up to run into a full range cabinet. So you could plug this into a floor monitor, you could plug it into a passive PA speaker, or even a passive studio monitor, set this over to full range, and it's going to give you an emulated output that's going to make it sound like you're running through a guitar cabinet. That's a very nice feature. Just take this on stage, plug it into a floor monitor, and you're ready to play. You can set the power output of the Black Spirit 200 to 200 watts, 20 watts, or 2 watts for practicing at very low volume at home. Or in fact, you can use it without a speaker with the amplifier operating silently either through the headphone output on the front panel or using the Redbox DI output. The last feature is AES, which is controlled here with the switch inside a little slot. This is automatic power off functionality. After 90 minutes, the amplifier will shut itself off. AES standing for automatic energy saving. I've mentioned the iPad app several times. Let's take a quick tour of what you can do using the app. It makes it so easy to run the amplifier to set up your presets. By the way, Hughes Kettner tells us that there is a version of the app that's coming for the Android as well. So with the app, you can see all of the amplifier's controls right here on a single screen. You can name your presets here at the top of the screen, store it into a different bank. Those can all be organized into a library here. We can look at the values for each of the controls. You can see exactly what you're doing when you're setting up your presets. Make all your changes, store into a preset wherever you want it located. You can access all 128 sounds in 32 banks of 4 here at the bottom. Your iPad communicates with the Black Spirit 200 using Bluetooth. It's a simple thing to set up. You just pair the two of them together. You can also use your iPad to stream audio via Bluetooth into the Black Spirit 200 simultaneously. So it's very easy to play along with backing tracks or your favorite songs, or if you're learning a solo. The app gives us a great way to check out a bunch of different presets. I'm going to play through some of the different factory presets so you can hear some of the sounds that they've created. think you get the idea. There are a ton of different tones available inside the Black Spirit 200. It can cover so many different genres of music. Everything from jazz to blues, country to heavy metal to classic rock. It's all in there. The great thing is you can use it silent using the red box. You can plug it into different types of speaker cabinets, whether a full range flat response speaker cabinet or a regular guitar cabinet. You have built-in effects. It really is an all-in-one solution. Best of all, it comes in at right around 8 pounds. Super lightweight, super portable, easy to grab and take to any gig. To take us out, I'm going to show you the sounds in this amplifier using several different guitars. I hope you've enjoyed this installment of Sweetwater's Guitars and Gear. Be sure to tune in next time. We'll have more guitars, more amps, more effects, and we'll be making lots of music. I'm Mitch Gallagher.